Carissa. This is the Fat Girl Flow channel, and today we are going to be talking about something that you guys ask me a lot of questions about on Instagram and social media, and I've made a video about this in the past, but I'm going to try to break it down a little bit more in this video and in several videos following it. We're going to do a three-part series on confidence and what confidence means and how to attain confidence. At the end of the series, I'm also going to make a video that answers very specific questions from you guys that I have got in the comments during the series. So the first video, this video right here, is going to be about how to be confident. Step 1, learning to be vulnerable.
That's your favorite thing, huh, baby?
It is my favorite thing. No, I hate it.
I know.
That is probably the least exciting title to anything that you've ever heard because it's scary and terrifying and nobody wants to be vulnerable. I looked up the definition of vulnerable for this video and I was going to share it with you guys thinking that it was going to be like some lovely definition, but literally what it says is something along the lines of putting yourself in a position to get hurt. Like that's like the definition of being vulnerable. And while that is very, very true, I also think that vulnerability leads to seeing your most true self and getting to know yourself really well. That way you can figure out what your values are. And we're going to kind of focus on that part of vulnerability. On Instagram, on social media, you guys see me in bikinis a lot. Currently, I am just wearing a bra because this is the life that I live. And you guys ask me a lot of the time how I became so confident or comfortable in my own skin. I think that a lot of people, what they're looking for is an answer to like how I radiate confidence. But I think the truth is there's nothing that I'm necessarily radiating. It's just that I'm kind of putting myself out there and hoping for the best. Everyone is consuming it as confidence. And the reality is it's just me being a person. And that comes across very confident because I feel really good about the person that I am. Confidence isn't something that you necessarily learn. You can't take classes on being confident. If someone is trying to sell you confidence, that ain't gonna happen. You can't manifest confidence out of nowhere. Confidence is an internal thing. It's not about it's okay if people laugh at me. It's more about I know people are gonna laugh at me and I'm able to cope with it. It's a inner feeling of strength in yourself and belief in yourself that no matter what happens to you, no matter who hurts you, no matter what things come at you, that you are able to cope with that and that you are able to come out of that a stronger, more balanced human being. So part of that process of finding that internally is becoming vulnerable. I'm gonna put some resources down below. I'm sure that if any of you are on the self-love path, you've probably heard of a lot of these people. Brene Brown does an amazing TED Talk about vulnerability. There are lots of resources out there about vulnerability and what it means to deeply accept yourself. And I'll make sure I'll put all of those resources down below because they are much more articulate than myself. I get a lot of questions from people about their significant others and their family and their friends and people who are very close to them and who they love very much and who they trust. And this is a great place to start trying to be vulnerable with people. I can remember being out at dinner with my mom and my sister one evening and they just did not stop talking about food. They were just talking about food constantly. And I had been in therapy for eating disorder stuff. I felt like they hadn't heard me say that before, or like maybe I hadn't been clear about how triggering talking about food was in front of me. I know that in the past with them, I had gotten really angry and I had kind of been like, you guys don't understand, why don't you get this? And maybe not approached it as my most vulnerable self. While we were out at dinner this night, when they were finished talking or whatever, I kind of gently said, this hurts my feelings. And like, I feel like you guys aren't listening to me and you aren't hearing me. And I'm trying to tell you that when you talk about these things, it like deeply affects my recovery and it deeply affects my ability to enjoy having dinner with you. And instead of getting angry and telling them that they're stupid for not understanding, or they don't know what it's like to be me, or that all of their thoughts and values around food are just asinine. I really like dug deep within myself because it's hard to tell someone that they're hurting your feelings when you are like massively triggered. That is so hard to like come down to a place where you can say the bare minimum of this is that it is hurting me. And to trust that people don't want to hurt you is also really hard. That's a difficult kind of idea to get jammed into our brains. But most of the people that we love, that we surround ourselves with, they really don't want to hurt us. So becoming vulnerable and coming to people and saying, you hurt me, this hurts me, and having that conversation with them and kind of giving that part of yourself to them and letting them acknowledge that you have opened up to them, you're being vulnerable with them, is a big first step in becoming truly vulnerable in your life. After you practice something like that with the people that you love or with yourself, I mean, sometimes it means that when you're looking in the mirror and you're mad at your body and you're maybe cursing yourself for doing something to your body that you didn't like, or overeating, or, you know, something that made you feel physically uncomfortable, that means looking in the mirror and saying to yourself, hey, that's okay. I am just a human and I am doing the best that I possibly can. And being really vulnerable and saying, God, I hurt my own feelings. And like, that's hard. And what's this actually about? What's the second layer? Like, let's get past the part where we're really angry or we're really kind of hyped up and want to like make sure everyone knows we're right about something. Let's get past that layer and really get inside of ourselves and see what's hanging out in there. One of the main things that I try to do in my life is to just live as authentically and as close to my values as I possibly can. At the end of the day, I am the only one who has to live with what I've said, what I've done, what I've looked in the mirror and thought, what I've thought about other people. So when you can be vulnerable and really tell people where you're coming from, kind of like from your heart space or whatever, it makes it so that at the end of the day, you feel like I did the best I possibly can. That's it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. It is, I like put myself out there, and no matter how someone chose to react to you, you know that you did your absolute best in making sure that you were vulnerable and you were true to yourself and you were authentic. And whatever someone's reaction to that is, that's their own thing. You did what you were supposed to do in the interaction, and you were as true to yourself as possible. One little point about this is that you need to be safe at all times. When I talk about being vulnerable, that doesn't mean put yourself in situations where you are unsafe. It just means in situations where you are safe, try to start practicing vulnerability. I know that that does not exactly sound like some key to confidence. I know that it doesn't sound like saying, hey, go be vulnerable and tell everyone how hard everything is gonna make you like some magical confident unicorn. And that's why we're doing this in 3 parts. We're going to ask questions. I'm hoping that you guys will interact with me in the comments, and that each video I can give you a little bit more information, and that I can answer questions. We can kind of get a conversation going about what it really takes to be confident, because, you know, we see so much of the fake it till you make it dialogue, and we see people talking about how like confidence is just something you're born with, and I really don't believe in that. I really think that we can all work to cultivate confidence and to be a more confident community. That's it for this part 1 of how to be confident. I hope that we can all just like sit with this for a week. Please ask questions, even if it's not necessarily about vulnerability. If it's a question you have about confidence or a specific question about your circumstance, please let me know in the comments. I might not be able to respond to everything, but please know that I am reading it and I am taking it into consideration when making the future videos, and possibly be able to answer it on a video when we do like a kind of wrap up about this confidence stuff. Okay guys, as always, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you later this week with a haul, and next week with the second in the series of confidence. Bye!